Okay, hello everybody. Welcome again. This is the Thumb Wrestling with the Ex-Hardcore Gamer. This week I have a very special guest. I have with me this week Charade, and as you get to know, you probably, if you've been following, you'll know why this is a special one to me. And as you listen, I'm sure you'll be able to find out as well, find out some more. Without further ado, though, I just want to kind of jump right into this. So, I'm all jumbled up here.
I'm tied.
Please introduce yourself. Let people know who you are, what you do, and they'll get an idea of why I have you here on the show.
My name is Charade, also known as the Aerial Assassin. I wrestle out of Atlanta, Georgia, independent professional wrestler. And recently I was involved with Beyond Wrestling's Armory Armor event in Rhode Island in September. And we had a little accident there, as what can happen in professional wrestling. And one thing led to another, and now I'm on Ex-Hardcore Gamer show.
Yes, and I do thank you again because I felt that anything I could do to help, I wanted to do. I was there at that event. People who know me know that I've been going to all of the Beyond Wrestling shows, and one of the things that I love about Beyond Wrestling is the fact that you get exposure to people that you probably wouldn't normally get exposure to. They bring in people from all over the country that are just looking for a shot to get some new eyeballs on them, you know, whether it be through their YouTube channel with their closed studio tapings or through their live events such as Armory Amore. And that's what happened with you, as well as with your partner as well, the Black Baron. So, I mean, we don't want to leave him out. He was definitely part of the equation as well.
Oh, definitely.
Unfortunately, though, as you mentioned, you had a bit of an accident, and so coming up on November 4th, Beyond Wrestling decided to take their show, which was originally going to be the finals for the tournament for Tomorrow 2, and turn it into a fundraising event for you to help you out with your medical bills, because you, much like many other independent wrestlers out there, insurance is not always a luxury that we all get to have.
Exactly.
So let's kind of rewind a little bit, though. I want to kind of keep things light, too. I mean, obviously, it was a serious situation that happened, and we want to be able to help out. But can you kind of give us a little bit of background about how you got into wrestling in terms of as a fan, and then later on as getting into your training and everything like that?
Oh, definitely, definitely. Well, like many, I started watching wrestling with my brother. You know, when I was little, 6 or 7, in front of the TV, watching WCW. My favorite was Sting back then, and Hulk Hogan. But then as he stopped watching, I stopped watching, and kind of forgot about wrestling for a while. But around, I would say, 2004, 2005, I started, you know, watching it again, and I took a real liking to Rey Mysterio. And at the time, I was also involved with gymnastics, so I could do a lot of the things Rey Mysterio was doing. So I was like, you know what, I bet I could probably do this one day, but it was still in the back of my mind. So, you know, time went on, became a bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger fan, to the point where everybody's like, dude, this dude's obsessed with, you know, wrestling, you know. And I would always annoy people at school and stuff like that. But all I knew at that point was WWE. That's all I knew existed at the time. So when I turned about 17, I finally made the decision, you know, I'm going to be a professional wrestler. So I looked up some schools and found out what the process was, and I still didn't really know anything. I was very green, a jabroni, as you could say. I remember walking into the WA4 for the first time on doing my little trial week thing, and the first one to approach me was AR Fox. And he was like, oh, hey, you know, he welcomed me and everything. And he was like, yeah, I want to be a wrestler. And he was like, all right, you know, we're about to get started. And, you know, are you a wrestling fan? Do you know a lot about wrestling? And I was like, I know a lot about wrestling. I know everything about wrestling. You know, I'm a big fan. He was like, all right, so who's your favorite? So I'm like, Rey Mysterio. And he looked at me and he said, okay, anybody else? He said, Matt Hardy. He said, anybody else? And I said, and he was like, man, he went like this and walked away. That was my first meeting with AR Fox. But as we progressed and as I started learning about this whole world of independent wrestling outside of just WWE that was so much more exciting and so much more dynamic, and which I'm a big fan of now, it's really opened my eyes, and I'm really, you know, enjoying seeing the other side of it.
That's awesome, and yeah, and I'm sure there's so many other people that have so many similar experiences. It's something that you said ranked true to me, that I've heard other people say as well, and that is, I didn't know anything outside of the WWE. I've talked to other people that have said the same exact thing because let's be honest, they're the big guys. That's the premier, whatever you want to call it, and so
Uh-huh.
everybody knows that. I mean, you can go down to the street and you can say WWE, or even you can still say WWF, and a lot of people will still know exactly
Exactly what
what
you're
you're
talking about.
talking about. But if you say, Ring of Honor, Chikara, even TNA, people don't really know what you're talking about unless they're really kind of into it. So I can totally see where you're coming from, and I know I was the same way. I actually fell out of love with wrestling when I was in college, but I'm also older than you, so it was about the same time. 2004 is when I started getting back into it when I was in college, and it was Ring of Honor that got me back into it because at the time that was like the premiere for independent professional wrestling, and
Uh-huh.
so you had all these. As you mentioned, the excitement, the dynamic to it, that was just so much different. And I went from somebody who didn't care about wrestling anymore to just becoming obsessed again. And Ring of Honor sadly started getting stale again. And then that's when I starting to hunt around again, and that's when I found like Chikara and Beyond Wrestling and AIW and a whole bunch of other ones. And AR Fox actually is how I found out about Beyond Wrestling because he had posted on Facebook a match with him from last year's Tournament for Tomorrow, which
No.
was against ACH. So found out
Great
about
match. Great match.
ACH.
Great match. Great match. Great match.
Exactly. So I found out about ACH. I found out about Beyond Wrestling. Big fans of both ever since then. And yeah, it's like a whole new world. And what I ended up finding myself doing is the way I've described it to people, so they can kind of get it, is I put myself going down that rabbit hole of independent professional wrestling. As you start digging deeper, you find that it just keeps going, and there's just more and more and more, and you'll never find everything.
It's like a limitless well. It's like you're always seeing something new and and fresh around the corner. You just got to keep you just keep being a part of it. It's just going to wow you every time. I go to shows and just watch what other guys are doing, and I'm just like, wow, that was amazing. This guy needs to have some recognition. I wish more people knew about this promotion or this wrestler or this ring announcer or whatnot. There's a lot of talent, on the indie level that I feel a lot of people need to know more about.
Definitely. So, as we mentioned, you had AR Fox. That was your meeting. How have you kind of progressed from there, and how did that lead you? I mean, I know we may be talking. I don't know what the time frame is here.
Oh, that's
How did
good.
we get you from there to
Beyond.
Armory Amore? Yes.
All right, all right. Well, I started training October 2009, and I had my first match about a couple months later, in January, with the WA4. And I just stayed doing practice matches in front of the live crowds there for a while. I didn't actually do my first outside indie booking until about June of 2010. So I progressed rather quickly at first, but there was a lot of psychology issues that took a while for me to grasp the concept of. I'm known around the locker rooms as being the one that gets super excited about things and doesn't quite get think things through all the time. I know Baron's always yelling down my neck, saying, "Charade, you got to slow down, slow down, slow down. Think about this, think about that." So it took a while for me to get the psychology down and think of what I have to do and how to put everything together. So brings me to Beyond Wrestling. Air Fox is the one that contacted Drew Cordero and see about getting myself and Baron a match with them. And I had heard about Beyond Wrestling before. I had heard phenomenal things about them and watched a couple of matches, but it was still a pretty new concept to me. But I kept getting more familiar with it as the date grew closer. So as we were getting ready to go for it, this was myself and Baron's not first big show, but first big show where we actually had a whole singles match, where we actually had a match and we had time to do and showcase exactly what we could do. Before we had worked a couple shows with Dragon Gate USA. We did the tryouts and we worked each other in Miami for for Untouchable 2012 on the pre-show. We've worked in Atlanta when Dragon Gate USA came down, and I was on the pay-per-view for Mercury Rising 2011. So I had short little stints, and to me those were just mind-blowing experiences. But this was the first time I could actually show the world, okay, this is what Charade can do if you give me more time than just 3 minutes, just 4 minutes. So we were really, 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 really excited to get to work for Beyond, and we got up there, and the rest is history.
Well,
At
well,
this
hopefully
point.
that's just what it'll be. It'll be history. We can move forward from there. What made you come up with the name Charade? What's the origins of that?
I get this quite a lot, and it's not such a spectacular story than as people expect. But I'm a big video gamer. I played the game Soul Calibur 2 a lot on the GameCube, and Link was my favorite character, of course, being a Nintendo freak. But there was a character called Charade, and I hated the character, I really did. But he could take other people's weapons and all kinds of stuff like that. And just as my debut kept getting closer and closer to my first match, I was like, I need a name. I don't have a gimmick. I don't really have anything right now. I'm just a dude that's been wrestling, and I need a match. So I started with the name Charade, and it was supposed to change. It wasn't supposed to stay. It was supposed to be a temporary name. But the more I wrestled, and I wore a mask and face paint and everything, more people kind of stuck to it and preferred it. So from that point on, it just kind of stuck.
Hey, if it works, why not?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's perfect, and that's also why you're on the show here. The whole reason why I started this was just my love of both video games and wrestling. So it's nice to be able to kind of marry the two together, because I quickly learned that it wasn't just a few select people here and there that we kind of had this similar interest in. The more I talk to, the more I realize of how many people enjoy this. And I think nothing states it any better than here it was. You had your injury at Armory Amore, and you're already posting pictures, and one of them was you at Nintendo World.
I've been wanting to go to Nintendo World for years. Back when Nintendo still had their message boards up, the Insider Forums. I don't know if anybody recognizes or remembers that name, but I was 10 years old, 11 years old, making friends and everything, talking with everybody. Oh, Nintendo World opened up, and everybody wanted to go. And, I just never could make my way to New York City to get up there. But, I'll be damned if a broken neck was going to stop me from going to Nintendo World for the first time. I was like limping in there, in pain, but I was up in there, and, I had a great time.
Well, what was it like there? What did you do while you were there? Tell us about your experience.
Oh, man. Nintendo World was just great to have a whole store dedicated to just the company that I love the most as a gamer. And I'm not a fanboy by any means. I love Sony. Don't really care for Microsoft, but Nintendo is just what I grew up with and what I love. But I wish I had some of the stuff I bought, but actually I do. Right here, bought some of these little energy drink kind of things with Mario and Donkey Kong on them. Even just little stuff like that. I made sure to stock up on, and got me a Nintendo wallet, Nintendo bag, stuff like that. Checked out the games. All kinds of stuff. We stayed there for a couple hours, just up and down and looking around, and little kid in a candy store.
I'm kind of ashamed to say that I've never been, and I live in Connecticut, which is not far from New York City. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
That's like the destination every video gamer needs to get to before they die.
My New York City trips always revolve around wrestling, not video games. That's why. But yeah, I mean, someday, I'd like to go, and here it is. You have that picture that I've mentioned. For those of you that don't know, you can always go to the event page for the Beyond Wrestling show. That's actually the main picture for it.
The picture with Larry Legend?
Yeah.
Yeah. And about Larry Legend, I can't thank him enough. He's the one that took me under his wing and cared for me in those couple days while I was waiting for my plane ticket back home, and he's the one that helped me get down to Nintendo World. So without Larry Legend, the greatest ring announcer on the independent circuit, in my professional opinion, I wouldn't have saw the store. So shout out to Larry Legend. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Was that weekend the first time you had met him, or had you had any previous encounters with him?
The first time I had met him was when Dragon Gate USA came to Atlanta in 2011 in April. That was the first time I had met him. And I went to do the tryout, and I still didn't know a lot about indie wrestling at the time. And had heard from a couple of other wrestling fans that if we helped set up the ring, they would give us a free tryout. And so we went out early and we set up the ring and everything like that. And we went to try out, and they liked my stuff. They liked what I brought to the table, and I got a spot on the card that night. So backstage, I'm looking around at all these stars. Look at Yamato, and I'm looking at Pac and Akira Tozawa and Austin Aries, and I'm just sitting here like, oh my gosh, like I don't, am I supposed to be back here with these stars? And Fox is walking around keeping his eye on me, hey, giving me tips and stuff like that, because we had trained together, and I learned a lot of what I know about wrestling from AR Fox. So Larry Legend was the announcer on that show, and he came over to talk to myself and three of the other young guys that got picked from the tryouts, and that's where I first met him. And if you ask him about the first time him meeting me, he's always like, I always used to call him sir, thank you, sir, this and that. And he's like, no, I'm just Larry, you can calm down. So that's the story of how I met Larry Legend. So we've always been good friends ever since.
Well, that's awesome, and yeah, I forget that he would do that stuff for Dragon Gate, because unfortunately we haven't seen him there lately. But then again, Dragon Gate has kind of had these long gaps. I'm sure it has to do with their ability to be able to get the Japanese talent over here and stuff. So Evolve has been running more, and Evolve has always had more of the minimalist presentation. So they have the guy who's doing commentary is doing the ring announcing and he's ringing the bell. It's a little bit different. But I do remember the first time I saw Larry Legend was at New York City. Like I said, I go there for wrestling. Dragon Gate USA was at BB King's House of Blues, and I believe it was the first time that they had been there, maybe the second. And I didn't know who he was. I just see some guy come out with his iPad, and I just thought that was it's made him stand out. That's for sure. And then I saw him in.
It's different. Walk around with the iPad versus the little notepad, or sometimes no notepad that a lot of ring announcers have. I think it really sets him apart. He's got a good style for the modern era.
Definitely, and not only does he stand out, but then he can use that for other things. Like he can shoot matches and make video and photos and everything all in one little thing.
Definitely,
kind of little.
Definitely, the infamous video that's going around of the Beyond Wrestling crash was through Larry Legend's iPad. So without that iPad, I don't know if this would have got as much attention as it's getting now. Whether that's a good thing or bad thing, I don't know.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was one of the people that had posted it, and I didn't realize that people would take it in such a negative way, and that was not my intention. So I hope you weren't at all offended by it. I was trying to get the word out there, because let's face it, until the final moments, it was an incredible match that you guys were having, and things were going great. And so I wanted people to see what happened and why we wanted to do whatever we could to help you out. Because, look, this is somebody who traveled all this way just for a shot. That's all that they asked for, and you kind of paid a high price for that. So we wanted people to be able to see that. And unfortunately, sometimes you have those fans that don't quite see things the same way that maybe I and my friends do, and it was kind of sad, and so that's when I took it down. But I think it was great until then, and I posted the video that Sugar Dunkerton posted yesterday and Beyond posted yesterday, and that had some little clips so people could kind of see what you were about, and I think that was very tastefully done, and I was very happy to see that video.
Definitely. Thank you, Mr. Dunkerton, for that gesture. I've met you around and seen you before, and I just thank you. I appreciate what you did about that video. Also, with the match, I think it's maybe some people don't know exactly what happened. Let's go ahead and fill in exactly what happened at Beyond, just so if anybody's watching doesn't know exactly what happened. Basically, during the match, like Mr. Rubba said, everything was going pretty much according to plan as far as me and Baron were concerned. But it got towards the end, and I was attempting a double rotation moonsault, and this is a move I do all the time in my gym. I coach gymnastics, so I'm very comfortable with double backflips and all that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, not everybody's perfect. I made a little error in opening up too soon, and paid for it and landed on my face, I believe. I just actually watched the clip for the first time a couple of days ago. I couldn't watch it, and ended up with a fractured occipital condyle bone, which is the base of the skull where it combines the top of the spinal cord there. So where it landed, fortunately, it's a pretty stable fracture, and I'll make a full recovery. But any more to the right, any more to the left, it could have been a lot worse. So I'm very thankful to still be around and to be able to turn to wrestling one day, for all the fans out there.
And that was definitely some of the best news. I mean, I'm still getting text messages and everything from friends that maybe aren't. I have friends who don't go on Facebook a lot, basically, and so we kind of just talk through text. And I haven't seen them since the show, so they're asking how you were doing. So people were still concerned, all these weeks later, and it was unanimous that people were shocked and amazed that we're hearing like 2 to 4 months. And when you hear the words full recovery, when you witness what happened, that's not what we expected. I mean, there was that silence there because we didn't quite know what we just witnessed and the extent of it. So it was definitely a good thing. So that's why I think Beyond is doing a wonderful thing, trying to help you out and having this fundraiser. They were gonna have the show anyway. Let's make it for a good cause. And I mean, not that wrestling isn't always a good cause, but an even better cause. And this way we can try to help you out. There's a dinner beforehand. It starts at noon, so I guess it's more of a lunch. And then the show starts at 3 o'clock. Stacked card. I'm actually going to be talking with Drew on Monday night for anybody who would like to watch that, and we'll kind of go into more details of the show itself. But basically, it's November 4th, starts at noon. If you want to just do the show, you can do that. If you want to just do the dinner, you can do that. It's $30 for the combo ticket, $20 for the dinner, $15 for just the show. And I think it's a wonderful thing that they're doing. I believe they're going to try to do some raffles or auctions or something to try to continue to do what we can. And I know you had just posted just yesterday that you finally got your bill in.
Oh, definitely. I just got it in the mail, and it's not pretty. It's looking at a total cost of $4,613.30, and $1,500 of which is just for the ambulance, which I thought was a little between ridiculous and robbery. But hey, what can you do? We're in the United States of America, and our healthcare system is a little between the middle of ridiculous and robbery. I'll just go ahead and say it. But I just appreciate all the fans and Beyond Wrestling for putting on this show and all the support that you're giving me. Under no circumstances should you feel obligated, to help me, or do you have to? But I just think it's really special for the fans to want to help me out in my time of need. So please come out, Bridgewater, Massachusetts. Charade's Charity Chowdown. It'll be a good time. Lots of high flying, lots of grappling, lots of high impact wrestling. It's gonna be a good card, and it's gonna be some good food. Drew Cordero is known for having good food at his events. So either way, you're gonna want to show up, even if you're not a wrestling fan.
Yeah, and food is a big way that I've convinced a lot of people to go. I can't convince them to go to a regular show, but I say they have really good food. And it's cheap. They're like, I'm in. We're gonna hang out and eat food. Will we be able to? I know that that's quite a distance. Are you gonna actually be at the show, or are you just gonna be there in spirit?
I will be there at the show. I will be there at the show. I just had to come. It's Charade's Charity Chowdown. How are you gonna have Charade's Charity Chowdown without Charade? Otherwise, it'll just be a charity chowdown, and it'd still be awesome. But you gotta have me there.
Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad to hear that. Now, when you do finally make this recovery, obviously we don't want you to rush it or anything like that. What are your plans going forward from here on out? Where do you see yourself, and how are you going to take things at this point? And I'm sure things kind of shake you up a little bit. So, are you going to start maybe avoiding certain things, or are you just going to be your usual self?
Oh, the infamous question. All right. Well, I don't want to rush things. I think I've learned my lesson from rushing things. But I'm gonna wait till everything checks out and everything's healed up. which should land around March or late February, somewhere around there. But I would love for my first match back to be with Beyond Wrestling. And I'm calling the Black Baron out. I want a rematch. I'm calling you out. I think that would be a great thing. But as far as long term, Beyond Wrestling was supposed to be my launching platform for some bigger events and bigger wrestling promotions. I'd done the little shows, I'd done smaller shows, and it was just time to try to get some national exposure. So that's what I'm going to continue focusing on. And I'm going to go back and redefine my game and go back to training and go back to the drawing board and see how I can make my style a little bit safer, but don't sacrifice any of the of my high-flying antics that my fans know and love. And maybe chill out on the double rotation moonsault for a while. Go back to the training match for that one. But don't expect the excitement level or the quality of my matches to go down when I come back. It's going to be just as good and better going into the future.
Well, that's good to hear, and I'm sure fans of Beyond will be very happy to hear that we can get that rematch, hopefully, and that you do want to come back. We definitely would like to see you there. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Will come back.
Okay. That's good to hear that you will come back. Hopefully it'll be for more than once, too, because
definitely.
The more the better. And so I obviously wish you the best. So
Appreciate that.
I guess with all that put aside, we touched upon video games before. I'm assuming, is this something that's helping you pass the time now that you have a little bit more free time on your hands?
Yeah, I was getting a little sad because wrestling was kind of dominating my life, and I had to push my video games back a little bit. But now I have a little more time around the house, if you can imagine. So I'm definitely busting out the Wii, getting all these games in that I didn't have time for before. So I'm actually going back to play Super Mario Galaxy, which I didn't have time to sit down and do before. So I'm excited to be able to go through this whole catalog that's just been sitting in my living room stacking up that I bought and can't play. So it's a lot of fun.
What are some of the other games besides Mario Galaxy that are on that pile?
We got Xenoblade on the pile, we got Last Story, and we got Pandora's Tower. I've been waiting for those three for a while. I'm a big RPG gamer, so those games look fantastic. But I'm probably gonna start Last Story first once I get through Mario Galaxy.
Very cool, very cool. I actually picked that up recently myself, but haven't gotten a chance to play it. My Wii's not hooked up. It's that system. You say it's what you grew up with. The Nintendo. But, you get older, you kind of move away from some of those games. I have a Wii, and I love it, but I find myself playing my PlayStation 3 and my Xbox a lot more. Do you have any of those systems as well? I know you talked about liking Sony.
PS3 was definitely on my list for a while, just kind of never got around to purchasing a system. But now that I got some more free time, $4,000 in debt right now, but
why not spend another $300?
Once the money clears up, I'm definitely looking to get the PS3. The All Stars Battle Royale looks pretty cool. I'm a big Smash Brothers fan, so and I'm open-minded, so I'm definitely looking forward to that game. I'm really kind of jealous of all the people playing Uncharted and saying how awesome it is, and I'm sitting here, I gotta get that game. So there's a lot I have to catch up on. I know I'm at the end of the life cycle almost for the PS3, but I'm definitely jumping in when I get the opportunity for that.
Well, that's when the games get cheaper, so why not? You Uncharted 3 is out.
No strategy.
Uncharted 3 is out. You get the first one cheap.
As much as you can.
Perfect.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, what are some other games that occupied your time beforehand, though, on the Wii or whatever?
My favorite game of all time is Chrono Trigger. I don't know if you've heard of that masterpiece. I don't know who hasn't. Chrono Trigger is the best game of all time, in Charade's opinion. I play that. I'm actually playing through it again on my DS, if you can believe that. But Chrono Trigger was the game that got me into RPGs. Definitely spending some time on that. Some other games, I said Smash Brothers. I'm a hardcore Smash Brothers fan. I play in tournaments sometimes, play with the friends, all that kind of stuff. Also play Kirby, Mario. Also play what's over there. You look. Can't see from right here, but Guitar Hero, music games, frequency, amplitude. Um,
Nice.
I got a wide range, so not just Nintendo, but that's where I feel most comfortable. You could say
It's
it's my comfort zone.
good to hear the love for frequency and amplitude because I bring that up and a lot of people don't know what I'm talking about, and those are the games that got me into the music genre. And so yeah, that graduated into Guitar Hero and then Rock Band and all that, and now I have hundreds of dollars invested in DLC for all these songs and everything.
Definitely.
Which reminds me, if you like frequency and amplitude, whenever you get a PlayStation 3, there's this game called Rock Band Blitz that plays just like frequency and amplitude,
Really?
but uses all the Rock Band songs.
Oh, nice. That's interesting. That's
And
really interesting.
you can
I
do
love
little score
frequency.
battles and such.
Oh yeah, I would invite friends over and be like, "Hey, you got to check out this game," and I plug in frequency, and they're just looking at me like, "What is this?" They couldn't really get into it. I'm like, if you just give it a chance, it's like the best game ever.
Sometimes that's
Whoa,
what you got to do.
definitely. So what,
Now
what are
with
some of the games you're into?
some games I'm into,
Yeah.
uh, I play so much, and actually like the name of my blog and all this is X Hardcore Gamer because I just don't have the time that I used to. I'm a guy that's got life gets in the way, and
Oh,
so
definitely.
I don't have the time to play like these hardcore RPGs or anything like that. That's why, like I said, I picked up Last Story, and even if my Wii had been hooked up, I probably wouldn't have even started it just because don't have the time. I play like Rock Band like all the time. My friends come over every week. We'll play Rock Band. Like I said, I have 600 songs or something ridiculous like that downloaded, and SingStar on the PlayStation 3 and doing karaoke and having my neighbors laugh as we're singing "It's Raining Men" or something. And um, no, we just have fun with it. I like old school style games though. I like the old school like co-op brawlers like Double Dragon, and
Oh, Double Dragon. Great game.
they came out with a new
Good.
one recently, and it's amazing. There's a
Oh
new
yeah,
one
I haven't picked it up. I haven't played that one yet.
yeah, it's all like 80s style. Like the soundtrack is all like 80s synth pop and really cheesy lyrics and cheesy dialogue, and like you high five your partner to do like combo moves, and it's just I love when they just own the cheesiness.
Sometimes you got to go back and take a blast of the past and go back to simpler roots, and it just makes for a good time.
Exactly. And
What
the
am
other
I?
thing is pinball lately. I've been playing a lot of is video
Oh, yeah.
pinball games like the Marvel ones, and that's on my PlayStation, and they have it where you can also play it on the Vita, but I don't have one yet, and I'm saving up my money to get one.
Nice.
And
Uh,
go ahead.
well, one of my favorite titles is Metal Slug, and going back to the old retro type games, Metal Slug. I love its hilarity on top, its comedy on top of frantic mayhem going on. So I'm, I love all those games. I played all of them in one night, one time. It's just a good time.
You have the Wii Collection?
Yes, I do.
There
Metal
you
Slug
go.
7 on the DS. Yeah, I'm all over Metal Slug.
That's awesome. Now, growing up, what were some of the games that got you going other than Chrono Trigger?
Super Nintendo was my console of choice. Even though Nintendo 64 was, the big craze, me and my brother were stuck on the Super Nintendo because there were so many good games for it. Mega Man X, the 1, 2, and 3, those games I spent so much time on as kids, going through all the cheat codes and trying to find secret locations for everything. So I'm a big Mega Man X fan as well as that. NBA Hang Time, spent a lot of time on. I'm not a big basketball fan, but I'll play some NBA Hang Time. I'll play some and NBA Jam. I'll play those two games. Other than that, I'm not a basketball fan, but those games were awesome.
I've always been more arcade style too, playing like NFL Blitz and
Oh, Blitz, good
and
game.
all those crazy ones like that. Just because that was just more fun for me, and same with racing games. I'd rather play a Mario Kart than like a Gran Turismo.
Oh, definitely. I've always leaned towards the comedy versus seriousness. Some gamers love the hardcore graphics and everything, and that's great. That's beautiful. But for me, I prefer gameplay over graphics and comedy over anything. That's kind of how I live my life. I like to laugh. I think you should laugh more too. So if you can find a way to make something fun and make you laugh, I think that's a win-win for Charade.
Now, was that a ringtone of yours I just heard?
That was the Metal Gear Solid, the little exclamation point. That's my alert tone on my phone that just went off. Sounds like I got an email.
See, you haven't even mentioned Metal Gear yet.
I
Obviously,
did not even mention Metal Gear. We'll back up for a second. I was in the DMV one time, and I was standing in line, and I get an email. It's like, ding! And I'm the only one that jumped. I jumped at my own ringtone. I'm like, whoa, what just happened? People are looking at me like, what's wrong with this guy? And I'm like, just me.
Yeah, I used to have the codec whenever I got a text message, like whenever you
really?
get the calls in, and everyone just starts shaking their head at me, whatever.
Man. Metal Gear is some crazy wild games. I absolutely love them. Haven't played all of them, obviously, absence of a PS3, but Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Acid, even Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 3 on the DS or 3DS. Played through all of those, just love them. Haven't got to Peace Walker, but Portable Ops, definitely a Metal Gear Solid fan.
Very cool.
Looking forward to Rising.
Yes, that's one I'm looking forward to because I'm not a huge Metal Gear fan because I'm impatient, I guess is the best way to put it. So stealth is not my forte. So the fact that it's more of an action-oriented one, I'm a bit more interested in that. So that's definitely pretty cool. So I guess, this is the question that I have always in my pocket. I ask everybody that I've interviewed. It's not interesting, but I'm going to ask it anyway. I shouldn't say it's not interesting, but it's not creative. You're a wrestler. What were some of the wrestling games growing up that you enjoyed playing?
WWE Day of Reckoning. Day of Reckoning 2. Let's see. SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 and the original. Actually, the first game, SmackDown vs. Raw, is, I would say, I'm going to credit for getting me back into wrestling. Because I was over at a friend's house in middle school, and he had that game going on. And I saw him playing with Rey Mysterio, and I would pick Triple H and Undertaker because those are the names I remembered from watching it as a kid. And he would just wipe the floor with me with Rey Mysterio. And I'm like, guy, man, I can't beat you with any character. Probably because I suck, not because, the Undertaker sucks, Triple H sucks, they're awesome. But I found a liking to Rey Mysterio through that game and stuff like that. So those are the wrestling games I grew up on. You ever play Day of Reckoning or just stick to the SmackDown vs. Raw series?
Yeah, I'm one of those people that if it's a wrestling game, I buy it. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's I owned the ECW games back in the day, the Legends of Wrestling. I bought all the GameCube games. I bought the crappy WCW game where there wasn't even a ring and you're just wrestling in the backstage area. I bought the AAA Lucha Libre.
You ever play WCW Super Raw?
Yeah, old school.
I think that game is the funniest game ever. You go back and play it, and you're just walking around like this, and you're like, oh, for two. This is great.
Yeah, WCW is pretty notorious for having bad games.
Oh yeah, who you telling?
My buddy had one on the original Nintendo system, the NES, and you had to pick which moves that you could have before you started the match because the controls only allowed you to do 4 moves. So you had to pick which 4 you could do during the match.
It reminds me of a certain wrestler nowadays. Hey, I didn't say anything.
I don't know who you're talking about.
And
isn't that... I don't know, never mind. But yeah, it's funny how they've evolved over time and how they haven't evolved over time in some ways. But I always have fun with them. That's why I always pick them up. I have the Hulk Hogan Connect wrestling game, which is just not that great, but I still get it anyway because
pretty sure I would have passed on that one.
Now, back to the GameCube though. I really like Day of Reckoning. It did some cool things. It wasn't as great as like the old Nintendo 64 games, I think.
Oh, definitely.
But it let you do some cool things that you couldn't do in some of the other games. Like if you powerbombed a guy in a chair, it would actually do more damage, like because he hit the chair. Whereas the other games, the chair would like slide out from underneath their body and other ridiculousness. But before it became Day of Reckoning, there was WrestleMania 19, and there was a
I
single
remember this.
player mode where you were like beating up security guards and everything. Did you ever try that one?
Throwing them off the cranes and into the dark abyss.
Yes.
What kind of craziness was that? I'm like, this isn't wrestling, but it was great. I love doing it. Hip toss, bye. See you later, mine worker. I don't endorse hip tossing mine workers off of cranes or anything like that, but in a video game setting, I think it's great.
I'm with you. I just think it was just so ridiculous that I was like, this is either the worst idea ever or the best, and I can't decide which one it is yet.
And the fact that you had a hard time putting the controller down pretty much it told you which one it was.
Yeah, I actually finished that mode. Beat it with Brock Lesnar. So
Blitz is my character for that mode.
yeah, there you go. Create yourself a lot.
Oh, definitely. Well, never created a charade character, but I've created some wacky characters through the years. I created this one character that looked like Goku from Dragon Ball Z, and in the whole karate suit. That was my character. His name is Mr. Question Mark. Don't ask. I was a kid, but that was my guy.
But see, I mean, that's the other thing that was fun about those games, and that's how I got my friends playing them, because like I had so few friends that were wrestling fans, but I could get them all playing the games because I was like, look, you don't even have to play as wrestlers. Like, let's just spend a half an hour, create your guy, we'll save it, and everybody 9 times out of 10 would create themselves. So next thing you know, all these wrestling games was Mike Rubba versus friend 1 versus friend 2, and we get these 6-player games going. That's just us, but we're doing ridiculous moves and creating belts that get traded as we beat each other and set up tournaments and stuff. And I think that was just fun because we're obviously not going to do that stuff ourselves, so why not have me do a Styles Clash in the middle of a hardcore match onto a table or whatever.
Oh, definitely. Video games are an excellent way to get all your inner fantasies out and not get arrested for it. So more power to you.
There you go. Are there any other games that I know you mentioned you're going to buy a PS3? Is there anything coming out in the future that you're looking forward to? Are there any systems like the Wii U that's been announced that you're looking forward to?
Definitely, I want a Wii U. Definitely, I want to get on launch day. I don't know if that's going to happen, but actually, I'm going to be traveling. Is it November 18th? It's coming out.
I think so. Sometime in November.
Sometime in November, I'm picking up a Wii U, and then I would love to get a 3DS XL. Because I'm a big portable gamer. I prefer portables over consoles if I had the choice. So the bigger screen is definitely is an interest to me because I play at home mostly anyway. So the Wii U I'm definitely interested in, and then that 3DS XL I'm interested in. And are you interested in picking up the Wii U? Because you're an ex-hardcore gamer, and I know you said you prefer the PS3 and the 360, which is all well and good, but with Nintendo taking this I'm going to try to get the hardcore gamers back approach. What do you think? Have you sold yet? Are you still skeptical?
I'm sold. I want to get one. I don't think I'm going to get one right away. I might wait for some more games to come out, but I'm definitely interested in it because the bottom line is that I know that even if they didn't want to make it all hardcore again, I'd probably still want to get one because there's still going to be those Nintendo games you're going to want to get. You want to get, I want to get New Super Mario Brothers 2 or whatever it's called. New Super Mario Brothers Wii U or whatever. That alone makes me want to get the system. But then there's this really cool game that I saw called Zombie U, and it's go around killing zombies, and you use the screen tablet thing on the controller to do security cameras and to see in the dark. And if you die, you're dead, and you get to start all over again because that guy is dead. And I like when they come up with these unique concepts. And plus, like I say, I don't have the hardcore time to play. I don't play games by myself as much. I get people coming over. And so Nintendo's always good for the party games. They have been for forever. And so I look forward to even just the included Nintendo Land looks like it'll be fun. So they throw out, something, I'm going to get it. I've learned to stop fighting and be like, nah, I'm too good for that. Because I know that in the end I'm going to break down.
You can't really bet against Nintendo. I mean, you can say all you want, but if you're a fan, you can't really bet against Nintendo. It's pretty much a shoo-in to get every single system, at least for me. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to Zombie U. I'm looking forward to Mass Effect 3. I'm looking forward to all these games that I wouldn't even be exposed to because I don't have a 360 or a PS3 yet. That maybe I can, start, becoming a fan of through the Wii U. So I think it's going to create more hardcore gamers that way. A lot of gamers that didn't know that they would like these games, hey, they have the system for it. Maybe it'll expose them to it. And, I think it's just going to be good for gaming in general, not just for Nintendo.
I hope so.
I'm very excited for it.
Something like Batman, too, would be really cool because that's one of my favorite games that came out this generation was the Arkham City, and now there's going to be a better version coming out for the Wii U that I know I have a friend who only has a Wii right now, and she doesn't like the fact that the only Batman game she can play is Lego Batman. She wants a real Batman game.
Well, she's going to get it. I love all the technology and the new things you can do with it. I mean, Nintendo's always innovating and stuff. So if I could use the screen to to look at my menus and do all this kind of stuff and look around and all that kind of stuff, I'm all into that kind of stuff. Get me some tools to get me deeper in the game and to get my money's worth out of it because games are expensive, and if I'm gonna pay $60 for a game, I want to make sure I'm having a hell of a time. Definitely.
That's a great call. And it kind of reminds me of like the old school now. I feel old saying that, but like the Dreamcast, where the controllers had the little screens, and then when you had the memory cards.
Oh yeah.
So if you can expand upon that, I'm all for it. And I think it'll lead to some great things. And also, I think some games will even let you play it on that screen without having to be on your TV. So like you say, you like to play portables in your house. That can be kind of a way. Like you could get Darksiders 2 and play that on the tablet controller, and someone else can watch TV in your house or whatever the case may be.
Most definitely. One thing I love about portables is I'm not confined to one room. I like what if I want to go lay down and play games? What if I go on the couch? So have we gotten a confirmation yet on whether you can leave the room with the Wii U controller? I'm not sure. There keep getting conflicting reports.
Yeah, they're being a little bit. Some people are saying like, yeah, I've been able to do it, but I also have thin walls, and I think it's going to be one of those things that they're just going to leave it as your mileage may vary, and we're just going to say that and not hype anything and promise anything we can't deliver on.
Hey, it's a step closer for me, for my goals anyway. So
definitely, and maybe they'll come up. My decision. And maybe they'll come up with some more connectivity with the 3DS because they did a lot. They did some dabbling with that with the Game Boy Advance connecting to the GameCube. So let's hope that we can do that because I have my XL that I just recently purchased.
Oh, nice.
And I really enjoy it. I've never really been a huge portable gamer, but I've been finding myself playing this a lot more lately. And like you say, around the house, I think I just didn't have that mentality. If I'm home, I should be playing on my TV. But now it's like, okay, I can put something on TV. I can watch, a show kind of half in, half out, and start playing something on here, and enjoying it quite a bit.
Definitely.
So, you say you have a 3DS now. Friend codes. This will be my last question, and then we can start doing some quick plugs and wrap things up. Friend codes. Do you bother with them? Do you like them? Do you wish it was easier to get together with friends?
I hate friend codes. I think that's, I say you can't really bet against Nintendo, but sometimes, let's be honest, Nintendo makes some stupid decisions. Sometimes. In the end, it always, comes, works out. But the friend codes idea needs to go. I find myself not even trying to bother with them half the time just because I'm like numbers and I don't have time for this. But I just wish it was more streamlined like Xbox is doing and PlayStation 3 is doing. I think what's the problem with that? I don't see the problem.
Yeah, I definitely think the 3DS did a little bit better. It wasn't per game. It was just one friend code, and then you're connected from there. I'm hoping that that's the way it's going to be with the Wii U because at least you don't have to deal with the hassle once per friend versus, 800 times, and then you do it for a game and then you never play it, and that's just annoying. So, all right, so I guess we can kind of wrap things up. We've had a good chat, and I hope that people can, see a different side of you now, and that's what I've always liked about doing this is, as much as you have these larger-than-life personas and everything like that, in the end, we're all just people, and a lot of times we're all geeks, too, and we wear that term proudly.
Definitely. Thanks for having me on.
And that makes me want to support more.
There's a couple things I want to share. Make sure you go to charadewrestling.com. That's like my main hub, main website. You can get all the updates there. So if you want to see how recovery's going, or any events and wrestling shows that I may be at once I get better, check that out. charadewrestling.com. You can follow me on Twitter, Charade Forever, Facebook, YouTube, Charade Wrestling, and of course check out support indie wrestling, czwwrestling.com and dgusa.tv, wa4.com. Just get out there and support indie wrestling. That's my request to you guys.
And beyond wrestling.
And beyond wrestling. That's monofans.com.
There you go. All right, so people can get a hold of you that way, and then they can tweet you their long friend codes or whatever. So thanks again for doing this. I do really appreciate it. It's always great to be able to talk to some new people and just kind of shoot the breeze a little bit. So if ever you want to do this again, you're more than welcome to. We can gladly delve more into gaming, talk about your recovery, whatever you'd like to do, and get you back on the road.
Definitely. I am looking forward to it. You guys have a good night, and happy gaming and happy wrestling.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right. Sayonara.